Several million people live in Chicago. This is under the surface. You can see the city block. You can see the breakdown here of portions of the neighborhoods or whatever it is. But it's generating an enormous amount of heat. And they picked this up on the infrared when Phobos was going around the planet and snapping pictures like crazy. And the Soviets were pretty open about releasing some of their photos. Contrary to the United States, where lying has become a fine art. Don't get me started on my politicians here. Phobos 2, the city on Mars, under the surface. You can see the streets, Broadway, First Avenue, whatever, you know. People have said, well, who is there? And I says, for God's sake, it's the Martians who are there. What a silly question to ask. Who's there? Next photograph, please. Now, I love this picture. I'm in love with this lady. Your ancestors and mine called her Gaia. She was feminine. She was a goddess. She was sacred. This beautiful lady has a respiratory system. She has a circulatory system. And she has a heart. And she's our source of life on this planet. We needed her. We need her now. We wouldn't be here if it were not for her. You talk about holy lands, Mecca, Jerusalem, here, there, everywhere. That is the Holy Land, people. That beloved planet that we are home. Next picture, please. I spoke to you earlier about the fact that your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren and so on, and the generations yet to come have a destiny in the stars. And in time, they will go out there and claim their rightful place in that infinite community of life. And you can believe that, and you can accept that with an assurance and a truth that goes beyond doubt. The destiny of this species and this race, this troublesome clan of monkeys, is in the stars. And there is your destiny. And I want you to understand that and have some hope. And don't get depressed, because you're going to be undergoing some very difficult times in the few years yet ahead. We're going through this transition, this transformation, this transcendent transformation into another species, into another race. And if you remember your own adolescence, it was a painful time. The species, the race, is going through adolescence. But we're not alone. We're being helped. We have family out there that's helping us. And they've been helping us for a long time. They've been trying to encourage us and nourish us and try to point the right direction for us to go. Because we are troublesome adolescent children. And we are going through that transformation. But my point is that there is no doubt about the inevitable destiny and truth of the human race. Now, I want to quote something from you, if you'll bear with me here. One of my favorite authors, poets, was a man I've admired for years, Count Leo Tolstoy. Tolstoy said that there is something in the human spirit that will survive and will prevail. that will survive and prevail, and that there is a tiny and brilliant light burning brightly in the heart of man that will not go out no matter how dark the world becomes. And then in the years ahead, when things are difficult, the economic problems take place, there will still be disruptions, fear, hope. Sadly enough, I'm afraid there will still be blood in the streets, here, there, and everywhere. This coming out of adolescence is not an easy process. But then, what do you do when you reach beyond adolescence? You reach adulthood. You grow up. And we're growing up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my journey's coming to an end. But for many of you out there, your journey has just begun. And I want to say something to you before I leave the stage this afternoon. No matter how dark the world becomes, be sure, as Tolstoy said, there is a spark, there is a flame burning in your heart that will never go out, no matter how dark the world becomes. And as my journey is coming to a close, and some of you, your journey is just beginning, I wanted to say to you, in a term that I think is absolutely appropriate, you Spaniards have got some beautiful terms and words. Vaya con Dios. I learned this term in Italy. I've never been to Spain before. Italy is one of my places that one of my favorite places. I love the Italians. Now I'm learning to love the Spaniards. In Italian, I learned to say this, and I will say it to you, and I understand you know the meaning because it's very similar. In closing, I want to say to you all, ti amo.